You're a funny guy.
Thanks.
Where are you now? New York, Vancouver?
I'm in Los Angeles now.
How's the weather?
It is so hot, it's ridiculous. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and it's hotter than it ever gets in Vancouver all year round.
Now, you're Canadian and you grew up in Vancouver, right?
Yes, I did.
So do you still have a problem with the Celsius Fahrenheit thing being in the States?
Yeah, in LA it's easy because it's always just way hotter than I want it to be. So I don't need to know what the exact number is. It's just always too damn hot.
And how is LA? What's that like living there, like being there now?
I mean, it's weird. I mean, there was a real culture shock at first, definitely. I've been here for like 7 years now, so I've kind of gotten used to it. But, I mean, I've seen it happen a lot of times. I'm good friends with Jay Baruchel, who's Canadian also. He's an actor who lives here. And when you first move to L.A. from Canada, everyone just yells at you all the time because they feel like all you do is talk about Canada. And you don't. And we're just like, you don't understand. It's just different. You don't get that it's different here. And no one here thinks it's different. They assume that Canada is just exactly like America. So we have to really drive it home by pointing out every single thing that's different.
Isn't it funny being from Canada when you watch something on TV or whatever, and you'll say, "He's Canadian. She's Canadian."
Yeah, exactly.
Why do we do that though?
I know, we just have to. We have to stake our claim.
Because Americans don't say he's American. You know, like,
well, they'd be busy if they did.
Congratulations, you've really started to climb that ladder. So I'm reading your bio. I see here that 40-year-old virgin. First of all, really, really funny.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
You co-produced that as well?
Yep.
And then Donnie Darko, Anchorman. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your Anchorman experience.
It was very brief, although hilarious. I mean, those guys are like the funniest guys ever, and it's where I met, Steve Carell and Paul Rudd, who I've been continuing to work with, and it was hysterical. I mean, it was one of those things where I got the sense where I was like, I don't think these guys know how funny this movie is going to be. Like, it seems very, very funny. And it was kind of before Will Ferrell was, like, wildly famous, so it was kind of neat to see that happen for him also.
Now, growing up in Vancouver, so you started your stand-up comedy act at 13?
Yes.
Dude, where were you doing comedy at 13?
Yucks. I was performing at bars at 13. I mean, I don't know if it was legal or not, but I would perform in actual nightclubs when I was 13 years old.
And what was your first big thing that made you say, you know what, yep, this is it, and I'm going all the way?
It was basically I needed money very badly because it was clear I wasn't going to graduate high school, so I decided to get an agent, and Freaks and Geeks was like the first audition I got sent out on. And I got the part, and I moved to L.A., and I've just been trying to kind of do the same ever since.
And the rest is history.
Exactly. Or is it?
I'll get shot if I don't mention The Family Guy. What do you do with The Family Guy?
Oh, the Family Guy episode? I have maybe one line, and I never even saw it, but it's good enough for the resume.
It sure is. What were you going to say? What did you say?
I was like a clerk in a store. It was completely random. It's almost nothing.
That's okay. Hey, it's worth putting there. No.
Exactly. I put other people's stuff on my resume. I'm in Raging Bull according to IMDb.
Don't you love IMDb? I love it. You go to quote something, they're like, no, that's a man and I'm a woman. No, not me. Okay, so let's talk about the flick you're in right now, You, Me, and Dupree, which is out today. Tell us about your character and how you got involved in that project.
I play a friend of Owen Wilson's and Matt Dillon's named Neil, who's kind of like a miserable married guy. And it was actually very weird how I got involved. It was as surreal as it sounds. I was sitting in my underwear on my couch one day, and my phone rang, and it was Owen Wilson, who I'd never met or talked to in my entire life. Famous people just have a way of obtaining your phone number. It's a little disconcerting, but they can do it somehow. And it was Owen Wilson. Hey, man, it's Owen, and I want you to be in my movie. And I said, okay, sure. And I just didn't know how to say no to Owen Wilson, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I did it, and it was really, really fun.
That's crazy that Owen just did you believe him that it was Owen?
Yes, he has a very distinctive voice, which I'm not good at impersonating.
No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad, actually.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was him.
And so your character, you're miserable, you're married. I know that just from reading a bunch of stuff and watching 40-Year-Old Virgin until, there's nothing left to watch, you guys improv'd so much of that movie.
Yes, we did.
And when someone asked you really how much of the script is the script, and you said not very much, a relatively small percentage, so much that it's shocking.
Yes.
So how did that come about for You, Me, and Dupree? Because I'm guessing you guys kind of get to go off on little tangents and...
I mean, we definitely do. I mean, on this one, it was more... I'd say it was definitely much more scripted than we were with 40-Year-Old Virgin. I mean, Judd, who directed 40-Year-Old Virgin, is just... I mean, he improvs almost more than anyone I've ever seen, aside from like a Christopher Guest type guy who is 100% improv. But, I mean, I will improv no matter what I'm doing because... I feel as though I don't know why. There's something wrong with me. I think that's the ultimate reason. But You, Me, Dupree, yeah, I made up a ton of stuff. But it's kind of not everyone's cup of tea. Some people just like to say the lines. I hate reading altogether, and my memory has long been drank out of my brain years ago. So I just like to make stuff up.
So can you tell us maybe something, since the movie opens today? I want to know a couple of things. So what's something we can watch for, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but when we see this part, oh my gosh, this is what was really going on, or when you see this part in the movie, you know what I mean? Like just a little insider information for us?
Let me think. That is a very good question. We shot the movie in Hawaii for 2 weeks, and you can see that we are actually in Hawaii, and I will tell all the listeners that that was nothing other than an excuse for everyone making the movie to go to Hawaii. And when you watch it, you think, there's no reason they filmed this in actual Hawaii. But we did, just because we all wanted to go to Hawaii.
That's fantastic. It totally could have been done in Los Angeles.
It could have been done in Malibu. It wouldn't have made a difference.
And were there any particular moments on set where you guys just lost it? And the funniest moment for you making this movie?
I mean, there's a scene in the movie where Matt Dillon kind of comes to my door wanting to stay in my house. And I'm kind of giving him problems because my wife is mad at him. And he throws a bag of frozen peas at me, which I thought was a hilarious thing for him to do. And it actually hit me really hard. But it was funny. And they used it.
So you weren't having to reach within to find...
No, exactly.
Okay. How was working with Kate Hudson?
She was very cool. I should have started a band. That's my thing. She was, she's a very cool chick.
Really laid back, I hear. I've actually talked to her before, and she just said she's just so much a regular person. And you can hear that when you talk to her. Now, did you get to hang out with her hubby at all? Did you guys do any, jamming?
I did not meet him, but I met their son, Ryder, who's like the coolest kid ever. He's cooler than I ever will be, and he's like 4 years old, so that's depressing.
Okay, Matt Dillon. Walk us through Matt Dillon. What's that like, working with him?
He's hilarious. He's awesome. I'm very amused by him. He's very intense and earnest, and
Did you say amused or abused?
I'm amused by him.
Okay.
I'm very amused by him. And he's in The Outsiders, and I just kept wanting to rumble him the whole movie.
I was just going to say, is it weird for you because you're sort of, not really new on the scene, but I guess probably new working with a lot of these folks. Do you how do I put this? Like, are you thinking, yeah, whatever, I'm with the big boys now, or are you like, this is insane? You're a wedding crasher.
Constantly insane. The fact just standing there looking at Matt Dillon is the weirdest thing in the entire world. It's very weird. I feel like someone's going to walk up to me and ask me to leave at all times. You're not supposed to be here.
Now, do people recognize you on the street, or I would suspect that some of that kind of happened after 40 over time?
I mean, I'll be standing to buy coffee or something, and someone will just scream, "You know how I know you're gay?" at me. But aside from that, not that much.
Do you have problems when you go into a Best Buy? You want to help people?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, we're gonna have to cut
That's okay. Anything you want to say to Canada, because you are from Vancouver and we're Toronto? I understand, West Coast, East Coast, but what do you want to say to Canada?
I love you, Canada. I'll be back soon.
Anytime you're in Toronto, please stop by to see us.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Seth. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.